Hello out there, I'm Randin from the Discographers. We recently, a couple weeks ago, released a cover video of Led Zeppelin's Dazed and Confused. If you haven't watched it already, you should. I have been asked on the internet about the guitar rig, what I used to make them sounds, and so I'm going to run through that really quickly for you. Starting with piece number 1 in the setup, the guitar, which is I now believe discontinued Blacktop series from Fender. This is the Blacktop Baritone Telecaster, made in Mexico. Very fine instrument indeed. So doing these Led Zeppelin songs, Black Dog and Dazed and Confused in particular, they were never songs that I thought I would ever have any business singing, but we wanted to do them with our little trio of Discographers, so what we're doing is dropping them very much in key, those two songs, dropping them a whole fourth by just playing. I'm playing on a baritone guitar, so it's just all the same positions as playing normal guitar, but it sounds a fourth lower, and Dan, the bassist, is playing, it's 5 strings, so same thing, just dropping the parts a whole fourth on these lower instruments. I found this used in a shop and just couldn't resist it. It's great. And, sorry, Telecaster traditionalists, but it has a belly cut on the back like a Strat. Way more comfortable. I also put locking tuners on it. That's it. Other than that, it's totally stock. Pickups are kind of dark. Should probably change the pots or the tone pot. I don't know. But I'm making do with it as is, even though I could probably use some better pickups and electronics in it. Okay, so that is the beginning of the chain, of course, and then I'm going through not a lot of stuff, but I have the way too big pedal board in action here. So maybe I'll just leave it like that and tell you the whole signal chain here, what I did with the sound. Starts with a volume pedal. Hey, look at that. Oh, you're seeing my cool slippers. So, the overdrive I'm using is a long discontinued Boss overdrive that I have 2 of these. I've had it for many years. An earlier version of this was my first overdrive pedal that I had since high school. It's the Turbo Overdrive OD2R. So, it's a pretty good sounding overdrive. I should mention I'm using the bridge humbucker on the Telecaster here. So that is non-turbo mode at full overdrive for this song. And for most of the song I'm also using the turbo mode, which can be triggered remotely with this extra pedal here. Which takes that overdrive into pretty extreme near fuzz territory. So that blasting all the way, the Boss OD2R Turbo Overdrive, full drive knob all the way up, turbo on, was the main tone for most of this song. I'm going to start with it off. So, beginning of the song, I have the volume pedal down, the turbo off, and using the wah pedal for the wah-wah-wah-wahs at the beginning. This is an old Jimi Hendrix edition of the classic Crybaby wah. I didn't shop around. It was what was available when I went to the store to buy a wah, so that's what I have. So the opening. The original has a little bend on that, which is harder to do on the baritone, but it's Jimmy Page hits the harmonic and then bends up here just by pushing down above the nut. I skipped that because it doesn't work as well, sound as good on the big fat strings of the baritone guitar. Okay, so after the very intro, when it first kicks in, kick the volume up really quickly, kick the turbo overdrive on, and I've also left out that I'm using the Strymon timeline for the delay. Obviously something that Jimmy Page was not using, but there are 3 guitar parts at least on the original recording, and so I'm using lots of tricks to fatten up the sound that I'm getting. And one of them is to have that delay with a little bit of modulation on it. Fatten up the sound a bit. So I'll leave that on the whole song. To cover the octaves, the multiple guitar parts on the original recording, I'm just using this old Boss PS6 harmonist pedal. To add an octave both above and below the note I'm playing. Playing it sort of in the middle range of the guitar, and then having an octave below and above from that pedal. Very gnarly sound, and I kick that off. I'm going to come back in singing. Go to a lower octave. Go to a lower octave on the guitar, kick off the pedal for the first or the second verse. When we get to the big first riff, where the second riff. And then as we come back into the big slidey, creepy riff again, that comes back on, the octave effects, plus I add the Strymon BigSky shimmer verb, that trippy high sound. Really raunchy, but just to hear that reverb on its own. I love shimmer verbs. So that just adds a little more high-end squeal, a little more depth and thickness to this big sound. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I'm doing on the song. Just those sort of different effects come in and out at different times. In the, let's see, so before going to the little psychedelic mellower break, the octaves come off, the turbo comes off, the shimmer verb is back on. Oh, I do add compressor. I have an MXR DynaComp right here. And on the original, Jimmy Page is doing the violin bow on the electric guitar. I don't have one of those. I figured what I would do is more of a David Gilmour, Pink Floyd style creepy stuff with the metal slide. And then went to normal slide. Faster solo, the octaves and the shimmer come off, the turbo goes back on. And yeah, I don't copy any of the solo stuff from the original, but sort of you know, except for the, which is a, you know, defining part of the piece. You can't do exactly what he did on the solo anyway. The opening of that with the singing and the guitar bends together on the baritone very well. It would be way up here. And also in general, it's hard because on the baritone you have a wound G string. Strings are obviously thicker, so it's almost like acoustic strings, but with a little less tension. So it's kind of fun, challenge, hard. So playing Black Dog and Dazed and Confused on the baritone, doing the solos in particular, it's a bit of a workout on the bigger strings. What else? Yeah, so it's just that same stuff off and on, and then everything on for that big ending. The turbo overdrive, the octaves, the shimmer verb. It's a hell of a sound. Alright, so that's it. That's my little rig rundown for the few out there who asked what I was using. Oh, last big detail. You saw them, but I didn't talk about the amps at all. You know, a lot of people are into big, giant amps. I like little tube amps. So this is a Fender 65 Princeton Reverb Reissue, totally stock. I think it sounds fine. I know I'm not super picky on that stuff. Some people try changing out the speakers and the tubes and all that, but I'm happy with it. I get compliments on the tone out of it all the time. With my, you know, Boss Overdrive into that, even when I'm doing a really simple setup, I get compliments on the tone on that all the time. Mic with a Sennheiser E906, and then this is the Vox AC4HW1. So the hand-wired series. It's got a 12-inch speaker, unlike the 10-inch in the Princeton. You know, the Princeton has more warmth out of it, even though it's the 10-inch as opposed to the 12-inch on the Vox, which has the thinner, obviously chimier sound. So I really like, rather than having giant amps, I like micing up this pair with that variety that they provide, and have the Sennheiser E609 on that one. And yeah, I'm just micing them both, running them in stereo. I would normally separate them a bit more when I'm recording anything but just like quick demo kind of things. Okay, now that's it. Congratulations if you stuck with this for this long. You must be a guitar geek like me. Okay, that's it. May or may not do more of these for other videos we do, depending on whether it's interesting or not. We just released Strange Brew as well, which is, you know, it doesn't have that many other interesting effects, but maybe we'll do a super quick version on that one. Okay, alright, thanks for watching if you have made it this far. Cheers.